Hey, what's up everybody? Over the past couple of weeks, we've experienced a lot of rain, and I just wanted to show you something that I've noticed in my FJ Cruiser only when it rains. This is something that my wife brought to my attention recently. When she was parking the FJ Cruiser in the garage, she had to roll down the window to get a better view because there was condensation on the mirrors. So she noticed that the windows would kind of chatter on the way down. All right, and I wasn't really quite sure what was going on. I went and took a look, rolled down the windows. Once I got to around the bottom of the window, right around here, it started to kind of chatter a little bit. So I kind of want to show you what I'm talking about, but first, everything is dry. Right now, what I'm expecting is normal behavior. So I'm gonna turn on the car. All right, and then I'm gonna roll down the window. Okay, rolls down just fine, rolls up just fine. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on the passenger side here. Roll down the window, roll it up. Okay, everything's working just fine. All right, so check this out, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and roll the car out. I'm gonna get it wet. You can see the windowsills getting kind of wet now, but I'm gonna let this kind of sit and soak and let the water really kind of take hold. So I'll come back to this in about a few hours, and then we'll see if I can reproduce what I'm talking about here. All right, it has been several hours of the FJ sitting out in the rain, and I'm just gonna go ahead and turn on the car and try to roll down the windows. You can still see that there's rain going on outside, and so let's just go ahead and see what happens when we roll it down here, okay? Did you see that little shimmy? So that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'll do it one more time just to give you guys a better idea of what I'm seeing. Here we go. And there it is. Okay, so that's the little shimmy I'm talking about. It's happening on the driver's side. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the passenger side. There's a little bit of a shimmy. I can see a little bit of it happening. I don't know if you can see that, but let me do it one more time. And up. There it is. So you can kind of hear it, you can kind of see it. It is happening on both the driver and passenger side. All right, so this seems to be a thing when it's rainy and extremely wet. I don't know how much of a threshold of water is required, but I don't know. There's probably a little bit of friction in certain parts. I know water is a natural lubricant, but maybe it just doesn't play nice with the rubber seal here. All right, so I just switched cars. I'm sitting in the RAV4 now, and I'm gonna roll down the windows just to see if this does the same thing. No shimmy here. We got passenger side. No shimmy. Seems to be all right in the RAV4. No problems over here, but definitely an issue with the FJ. You know, for some people who may have encountered this like I did the first time last week, it may be a little concerning, and you know, like I might have thought that my window motor was going bad or something. You know, I looked into it a little bit and discovered that this was just a thing that happens when the window tracks get wet. I don't think this is a huge cause for concern, but as I mentioned before, this is something that if you're not familiar with what's going on and you're not expecting it, then it could be a little concerning at first. But rest assured, it seems to be something that goes away when the car is dry. And so I'm not gonna bother with, you know, taking apart the door trim and lubing down anything. It's the very next day after I just made that video about the windows stuttering yesterday. Anyway, so the FJ has been parked inside of the garage. There's a little bit of wetness on the window still, but it has been in the garage overnight. It hasn't been sitting out in the rain. So now that we've given the window channel an opportunity to dry, let's just see what happens. So here we go. Okay, I'll start with the passenger side window. And here we go, I'm just gonna roll this. No stutter. and that works just fine. You can see there's a little bit of moisture left in the channel. I'm gonna move over here to the driver's side window here. I'm gonna roll it down. No stutter on the way down. No stutter on the way up. There is some water still left here, but it's not quite as intense as it was when it was raining. But the problem is due to wetness. And of course it's gonna rain, the channel is gonna get wet. And so for whatever reason, it seems to cause this stuttering whenever the windows go up and down. It's a minor inconvenience, obviously, but just something to be aware of. And it's a problem that should go away whenever the wetness dries out. One fix that I read about on the FJ Cruiser forum was that people would spray some silicone lubricant in there. And this is just the one that I tend to use. I have this WD-40 silicone lubricant. We actually are expecting some more heavy rainfall tonight, so there's a possibility that I might just give this a try. All right, so I have a theory that this problem might be due to the track's being dirty. All right, so my experiment is I am going to wipe down the track so that all of the black stuff that you see in here disappears. So there's one pass there. I don't know if it's gonna actually get rid of everything, but it should definitely make it cleaner. So there's a second pass. I'm gonna keep doing this on this side with no product or anything. And then just for the sake of experimentation, since people have reported that they've taken their FJ Cruiser back to the dealership and they've shot some silicone lube down here, I'm gonna take a second paper towel on the other side and I will, put some lubricant on it. And I'm not going to spray it down the channel or anything, but I'm just going to wipe the seal, lube it up with some of the silicone sealant. And then for the sake of this experiment, I'll let it sit out in the rain. We will roll down the windows and then see what happens. Okay, I don't want to go too crazy with cleaning these channels because I don't want to bend the rubber back too far so that it might not create a good seal against the window. So you can see naturally the rubber bends this way towards the window, keeping water out or doing its best to keep the water out. If I stick my finger in there too much, it might bend the rubber back the other way, and that's something I don't want. So do a couple of passes here just to make sure I get some of that lube in there just to see, but I definitely don't want to bend the rubber. All right, I think that's good enough for me. We'll see how this goes. All right, so last night we had some heavy rainfall here, and I left the FJ out overnight, and I'm gonna go ahead and get in there and roll down these windows and see if it does the chatter. So let's see if cleaning that a little bit has any effect on this windowsill. So let's roll this down, see what happens. Yeah, there's a little bit of chatter there on the way up. There it goes. All right, so cleaning the track has no effect. All right, so let's see. On the other side, I put some WD-40 silicone lubricant. I didn't put a lot. I didn't actually spray anything in there, but I put it on a paper towel and I wiped the track clean. I don't know how clean it really is, but I wiped it a couple of times and spread some of the lubricant on there. And so let's go ahead and roll it down and see what happens. There's a little shimmy on the way down there. A little more shimmy on the way up. All right, so clearly that didn't do anything. So the trick to this is basically just to let it dry out. Apparently that's just something that happens with these windows. Again, I'm not exactly sure if this is specific to certain model years, but if you do have it and you drive an FJ Cruiser, let me know what year you're driving and maybe we can figure this out. But this is definitely something that I'm not worried about. Basically, it goes away when the window is dry, so that's all you gotta do. You just gotta wait it out. You can probably speed up the process by taking a rag to your window and drying it out. But once the rain stops and the moisture goes away, the problem goes away. So it's just something for you to be aware of. I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. Based on what I've read on the FJ Cruiser forum, regardless of whether or not you do have window tint or not, the stuttering happens when the window channel gets wet. It takes a little bit more than just like a general sprinkle. I had to have my FJ out in the rain for a few hours. I know others have had this problem in the past, but hopefully this will be enough to reassure everybody that it's not a major problem. I hope that you found this helpful and informative. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.